Hi, it's Anne Marie from YogaMakesLifeBetter.com, and today I'm going to talk to you a little bit about hip openers. So a girlfriend of mine was asking what she could do for tight hips. It's a common complaint for a lot of people because we do spend a lot of our time sitting, which our bodies aren't really naturally made to do. So to help counteract that, there are a couple different things you can do on a daily basis to help release the tightness. One of those is pigeon pose, and pigeon pose can be done seated or supine, lying down, or it can be done in its traditional format. So I'm going to show you all three of them very quickly. So seated, you're just going to bring your ankle up across your knee. So this is a very gentle version of pigeon pose. You might find that this is already creating a lot of resistance in your glutes and in your hips. And then you can use your knee and the muscles' energy to draw that knee down to the floor, and that helps create some openness in the hip here. Now this alone might be enough for you. Now when you do this, you can sit here, back straight, taking deep breaths in and out, and just be very conscious of what you're doing with this knee and opening this hip. You can do this from your desk, you can do this anytime. Obviously we always want to do both sides. For the point of this video and to get us through more quickly, I won't do each side. You can hear my son in the background, so I'm going to try to get this done as swiftly as possible. Lying down, supine pigeon, you just want to come onto your back and then bringing your knee, so you're basically placing your ankle on your knee, the same as we were doing in the chair, but now we're lying on the floor. If it's comfortable for you, you can then bring your right knee towards you. So your bent knee's coming towards you. You can place your hands behind your thighs and draw them closer. You can place your hands in front of your shins and draw them closer. As you do this, you can also push out with your knee, okay, and you will immediately feel how that changes what's happening in your hips. So as you lie here, again, breathing in and out through your nose, taking long, steady, full breaths, and just being really mindful and conscious of what you're doing. Okay, you want to practice that on both sides of your body. Now, the other version of pigeon is to come from your down dog. Okay, and taking your foot up to the ceiling, you're going to then bring the knee to the same elbow. So if it's your right foot that's up to the ceiling, you bring your right knee to your right elbow, and then bring your right foot across. And so you're going to be placing it on the mat similar to where your hip is going to be, or if you have more flexibility, you can help position your foot so that you are parallel to your mat, so your shin is parallel to the mat's edge. Okay, but we'll do an easier version today with it closer to your hip. You can use your back foot to kind of tuck your toes in and like draw that left leg back. And then from here, you can push up onto your fingertips. Creates a bit of a back bend. It also helps open up the pelvis and your hips. Now you have a couple options here. You can come down onto your forearms after you've held that for a few minutes. You can come down here onto forearms, or you can come all the way down to your forehead. Okay? So you do what feels right to you. With yoga, there's always someone who can do more than what you can do. Different people have different bodies and different anatomies and different amounts of flexibility, so it's really important to do what works for you. So when you're in that pigeon pose, you can hold that for 2 minutes or 5 minutes. If you do a yin or restorative practice, you'll have longer holds, and they call it dragon and yin, but it's the same kind of feel, and you're just releasing throughout. It's a wonderful pose. Now, I'll try to show you a couple quick more before my son gets too much louder. Supta Baddha Konasana is reclined angle pose. Basically, you're putting your feet, the soles of your feet together, allowing your back to slowly roll back to the ground with your support of your arms, and just bringing your head to the ground, placing your arms face up. Now you can draw those feet in a little bit closer to your pelvis, and then just allow your knees to drop fully to the side. hands palms face up. You can close your eyes here. And as you breathe, just fully relaxing into the pose. There's no resistance. There's no, it's a fully relaxing, letting go pose. So you're just letting those hips open up. Now you might find that you're up a little bit higher. You can put blocks underneath your knees, and they would just go right here to create a support if you need them. But a lot of people don't have blocks, so you could do pillows underneath your knees if you need them. But with Supta Baddha Konasana, this pose, you can stay in this pose for 5 minutes or 10 minutes. You can do it 20 minutes. It really comes down to how much time you have to devote. But even if you just hold this pose for a minute or two, it's a great release for the hips. There are a ton more that I can show you. I'm going to show you one or two more, and I think then we'll have to wrap it up for Callan's sake. But wild child's pose. So child's pose is here. It's a resting pose. And then there's extended child's pose, which is here. Wild child's pose, you take your knees apart, which allows your belly to come in some, and then you can come down. So you're placing your forehead to the ground. You're leaning forward with your chest. You can also do your chin to the ground, but forehead to the ground is a bit more of a resting pose. Now, if that's really comfortable for you, then you might even want to try frog pose, which you can take your knees to the width of the mat, or you can go even wider, just depending on how much flexibility you have in your hips. Now, for me, I actually have a lot of hip flexibility, so this is an easy pose for me. But you might be starting off with knees the width of the mat, and that's as much as is comfortable for you. Great. Always listen to your own body. So you just come down onto your forearms, okay, and you want to bring your knees and your hips pretty much aligned, and here's the pose. So with frog pose, if it's comfortable again, you just do whatever is the most comfortable with your hips. Otherwise you can hurt yourself. So just, always be mindful of what works for you. And, you might feel a touch of, you're going to feel resistance, but as soon as you feel any discomfort, then you've gone too far, and there's no point in injuring yourself. Yoga can be really therapeutic, but only if you listen to your body and don't push it and don't do things that don't make sense. So just pay attention to your body and see what works for you. Try those couple of poses. Now look, there are a ton more that you can do, but if you just add in a pigeon, add in your Supta Baddha Konasana, your reclined angle pose, and that frog pose every day for 2 or 3 minutes, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, you'll notice a difference. So for my friend that requested the hip opener sequence, I hope that will help you, and I'd love to hear how you go. So thanks for joining me. Namaste.